Let's turn our focus inward a little bit to South Africa. Now, I know what I'm going to ask you is something that you get asked a lot, but I'd like to talk about the idea of job creation. Now, 500,000 jobs was a number that you mentioned as a target. Clearly, a lot of jobs have been created through the expanded public works program and the infrastructure investments on the part of the government. But clearly, also, a lot of jobs have been lost in the past year. Where do we stand at the moment? What's a realistic figure? What are you targeting right now?
Well, at the moment, we are aware that there has been the creation of jobs to a large extent, whilst at the same time, there were jobs that were being lost. And we accept this, that our targets, therefore, were not necessarily met at the point which we had said the job opportunities would be 500,000, etc. Now, given the recession that we have gone through, I don't think it has been therefore easy to say this is what we are doing. Right. We know, for an example, that there is still the loss of jobs that are happening, because whilst the economy is picking up, but we know that the jobs will follow. They will not immediately turn the corner as the economy turns the corner. And therefore the question of the exact numbers is what we are looking at, and we are aware that it is a challenge. But as you know, we have established a department of economic development. One of his tasks is actually to look at the job creation. And we are doing everything to ensure that we do not lose sight of that. We have 700 billion rand that we have put aside for the infrastructure. That makes us look at the possibility of creating more jobs as we roll out the infrastructure program in our country. So we are very optimistic that we'll be able to make it.
Speaking of internal issues in South Africa, I know this is something you probably get asked a lot as well. It's the issue of the mining sector. What do you see the future for the mining sector? And on the issue of privatization, what is, or nationalization rather, what is the current government policy on that issue?
Well, we are looking at the mining industry in South Africa as a factor that is remaining to be a factor that will influence, as it has always done, the economy of South Africa. We are looking at innovation. How do we make it even more relevant and even more beneficial to the population of the country? And how do we balance the public and private sector with regard to the minings? On the issue of nationalization, that issue has not been an issue that has been discussed by government or by the ruling party. There are people who have raised the issue. It has not been discussed formally for us to take a decision about it. So it's not an issue that is being debated right now. But some people have made a point to say, look, we think nationalization is the route to go. But we are waiting for that discussion to come, because then we will all say, those who are saying so, they must motivate what is it that we think needs to be done in order to better the economy of the country, in order to make the population of the country benefit out of it, or the economy itself. So the matter has not been put for scrutiny, for the test in a debate, so to speak. It's an issue, therefore, that is being talked about in the media, in the main, rather than in formal structures.
Speaking of South Africa and the situation in the economy now, investment clearly suffered over the course of the financial crisis. It's obviously improved dramatically in sort of the preparation for the World Cup. I'd like to look beyond that, though. A lot of people are obviously asking you about the preparations. We know that we're really ready. Beyond 2010, though, I mean, people need to see South Africa as an investment destination, you know, after the World Cup ends. What are you doing in order to make sure that you promote the investment opportunities there? What message are you bringing here to Davos?
Of course, we are saying, firstly, South Africa has indicated that it is capable of facing challenges. One of them, of course, has been its preparedness to host the 2010 World Cup. And I don't think anyone doubts that. If there was any single thing that has marketed South Africa, is that one. Everyone is clear that South Africa is capable of rising to the occasion. But of course, the infrastructure that we have brought has brought in new economic activities. But precisely because we knew that we're dealing with this infrastructure, but also that South Africa itself needed the infrastructure to expand, because it was beginning to suffocate the economy. And therefore, that's why we have put aside 700 $700 million. I mean, rands, not dollars, by the way. Rands to roll out the infrastructure. That, to us, is a very significant element of investment that we need to bring. It also indicates that we are looking big in terms of what do we do after 2010. So we are ready. We are calling the investments to come in every sector.
On that note, President Zuma, I'd like to thank you very much for being our guest today live from the World Economic Forum in Davos. And